Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hopefully, you're having a great day. If not, then maybe I could put a smile on your face or take your mind off of what may be an issue right now. Just for a few moments, we'll go ahead, talk about the NFL Week 2, talk about an interesting story with Alexander Mattison, running back for the Vikings. We'll have to talk about Kevin Porter's situation, which is, interesting. Also, want to talk about Shohei Ohtani. Kind of an interesting development, at least earlier in the week, where there were some questions about something that happened within the locker room. So I'll talk about that as well. And you know how the videos work. I give you my picks for the NFL week. So we'll do that at the end of the episode. We'll see how well we do, obviously, next week. Still sticking to the 3-day schedule. So if you enjoy the videos, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share. You can check out previous videos, which I will, have a little card that pops up at the top if you want to click on it after. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into these stories and let's have some fun. So like I said, first I want to start with Shohei Ohtani, because it was midweek, I believe, when they were talking about, I believe, like, his locker was cleaned out, which was interesting because, the season wasn't over. It was a little weird that his locker was just cleaned out. Like, did he just leave for whatever reason? Now, earlier, or at least Saturday, the news came out that locker is cleaned out because he's being shut down for the season. He's going to have the UCL surgery, which I guess is basically Tommy John surgery, which means, yes, he was not going to come back this year. When he first got hurt, remember, it was like, oh, he could come back and play DH and hit. Like, what's the point of that? The Angels are out of it yet again. But that's not even really the point. Because now the point is, his season's over. He's going to be a free agent this offseason. The Angels, despite all the pressure from the outside in moving him, decided to keep him. I still think the Angels are trying to, call his bluff in a certain way, where they feel like they have an opportunity to sign him back. Now, maybe from the Angels' point of view, if the injury bleeds into next season, he misses significant time, maybe they think they could drive down the cost, make it more feasible to bring him back. Maybe they also think Shohei just loves being in LA so much that he wants to make it work out. Maybe take a little less to help the Angels build a team around them, which I would have zero faith in the Angels actually being able to do that. But I think an underlying story was the whole Mike Trout thing that kind of got snuck into this, where the Angels would be open to trading Mike Trout if he were to approach them and say he wanted out. And I think it was probably a couple of months ago around the trade deadline, where I felt the Angels, if they could redo everything, would rather lock up Ohtani and move Mike Trout. I think Ohtani's the better player. He has the brighter future, and it just makes more sense. Now, they did lock up Trout before because, Trout was seen as the best player in baseball. I don't think he's that anymore. Like I said, I like Ohtani better. I like Mookie Betts better. Trout's been kind of breaking down. He's become a regular visitor to the injured list. It's kind of hard for him to be the best player in the league if he's not around enough to affect winning in LA, which they haven't done with these two. So with Ohtani being shut down, it now starts the kind of summer watch. Well, not summer, because summer is basically over, but the off-season watch of where does Shohei Ohtani go? Does he leave LA? There's also reports that apparently he likes New Balance. As you can see in the image, he is wearing New Balance shoes. New Balance. Their headquarters are in the New England area, which would lead to the Boston Red Sox. Which, look, I'm a Red Sox fan, would love to see it. I don't know if I can buy into that. But the Yankees will be trying to get his services. Probably the Dodgers, the Giants. We know the usual players. We'll see. We'll see what happens with this one. So let's go to the next story. So like I said, I was going to talk about Kevin Porter Jr. If you don't know the story, he's going through a bit of a legal situation at a New York City hotel. He, is being charged with abusing his girlfriend. On the surface, that's pretty bad. Looking at the details, it's him punching her in the face. She had a cut over her eye. He broke her neck. She's got cracked vertebrae. It's pretty brutal. That aside, which the legal implications there are definitely serious. A lot of this could be moot because he could find himself behind bars, where, if the allegations are true, is where he probably should be. But looking at it from the NBA side of things, if you're Adam Silver, I guess Adam Silver doesn't have to make a decision right now. He can kind of let the legal process play out. Because like I said, if he ends up in jail, that kind of takes out of Adam Silver's hand anyway. The Rockets, though, are going about this in a weird way where they're putting him on the trade block. Where what team's going to trade for a guy who could end up in jail? I don't get that from Houston. If you want to move off of him, cut bait, release him, buy him out, do something. I guess if you buy him out, you still have to pay him for, the years remaining on the contract, or you spread it out over a little bit more years. You'd still be technically paying him while whatever, but I just feel like they should just kind of remove themselves from him, not try to trade him. It's a weird look. For Porter, look, if this is all true, he gets indicted and all that on these charges, that's probably the end of Kevin Porter as an NBA player. We're in a time where, for these athletes, where there's crimes committed against women, they, I guess, are taken a little bit more seriously now, because, it's not like back in the day where sports was seen as a man's arena. A lot of macho and everything like that. You could they would maybe brush it aside a little bit, but now you have women infiltrating a lot of these teams. So it's a bad look if you have a player representing your team that has a past. Yeah, just like I'm saying, a conviction of sorts, like a Kevin Porter thing. If he were to come out of that and then be back in Houston, women who are involved in the organization might feel some type of way having him walking around. So, of course, if it turns out he's innocent or anything like that, this whole conversation doesn't make sense. I find it hard to believe with the reports that he's completely innocent. So we'll kind of go about it that way. But, for these athletes, you've heard it before. It's a right to participate in the league, not necessarily I said that completely wrong. It's a privilege to participate in the league, not your right. So Kevin Porter is not above the law in any type of way. If, like I said, if Houston or Adam Silver banned him from the league, nobody can sit here and say he's being done wrong. This would be all Porter doing it to himself. He's a young player with, I think, a lot of promise. Houston, up and coming team. They feel like they're heading in the right direction. Not what they need. Now, they spent the offseason bringing in veteran players to be adults in the room. It seemed like they were starting to weed out some of the young players who had been around for the past couple of years, where it kind of seems like from the outside looking in, might have been some immaturity in that locker room. They sent some of them away. Porter might force himself out of the situation. They'll probably be, I guess, ultimately better off without this surrounding the team. It's also interesting, they're being coached by Udoka, who had his own situation in Boston. And now you're adding the Porter Jr. drama to the organization. So Houston, that's why I'm like, the whole trading him thing, I get it, you want to get rid of him, but why not just cut bait with him and just completely pull away from him? So yeah, I doubt a team's going to make a trade for him. You know, I feel like he's kind of just be hanging around until the legal process plays itself out, which I think some point this week there'll be an arraignment or whatever, and obviously I'll come back in another video, give you updates on the story. But yeah, Kevin Porter Jr., we'll see what happens there. Next up, once again, another somewhat serious situation in the world of sports. If you don't know who this is Alexander Mattison. He was in the Thursday night game against the Eagles. Vikings ended up losing, although they had a valiant effort late in the game to try to win it. Mattison did not do well. We'll just state that. From that led Mattison to reveal that he received a lot of hate messages, a lot of racially charged messages directed at him. You know, his response was, underneath the helmet, he's a human. Like, he feels sick because he's a father and he has kids. Understandable in him saying that, because I do think in a lot of situations people forget athletes are human. And I say that when an athlete makes a mistake, they're human. If they miss a shot, they're human. Miss a play or whatever, they're human. We have to realize that. Now, with the situation here, we know today's society, people will go to a game, they'll sit at a sports bar, they'll sit at their home, they'll watch games, you know, they'll enjoy a drink or two, feel that courage running through their system, and then they'll hide behind their keyboard. They'll, you know, go to his Twitter X account, his Instagram, and post whatever. Because in their mind, what's the worst that's going to happen? Madison's not going to find them and drive up to their house and intimidate them in any way. To them, it's no harm, no foul. You know, maybe they post something that people find funny. Maybe it gets them attention, which a lot of this is probably in that camp of them trying to get some attention out of this. But it's a situation where we see it every so often where people go overboard with it. You know, every fan base has a select few that will do something like this. You know, I think in general, sports fans on a whole, they're not bad people. You know, they're very passionate with their teams, but there's, like I said, there's a sections of those fan bases of people who want to stand out. So they want to be that one who sends, you know, something that's so outrageous, the player responds to them, because then they feel like they've done something. When in all matter of fact, it's like, athletes probably don't need to respond to some of these people because, like I said, they're just trying to get attention out of it. But I understand in this case where race is involved and everything like that, you know, he wanted to speak out about it because who knows? his kids could stumble upon it one day. That could lead to a whole conversation. It could affect, I guess, their life at school if friends see it and stuff like that. Like, that's what a lot of these people aren't thinking about, because they could be liquored up or they just don't care. It's 2023. There are people out there who just do not care or respect people. They just don't. So they're going to do whatever they want to do, and they're going to keep it moving. Like I said, the odds of Mattison walking up to their house, knocking on the door, them opening it, and having that awkward experience, slim to none. So they'll type up whatever, they'll hit send, they'll lay their head on their pillow and feel perfectly okay with it. There's another part of this that I kind of want to bring up, but then I kind of don't, because, you know, I feel like I probably should really quickly. I did find it interesting. Went to ESPN to look up the story about it. It was over to the side in their little headline section. If this was involving another city, I'm not going to name the city, you probably could guess. It would be front page. You'd see article after article about it. It would be the first topic on PTI, Sports Center, and everything like that, running through the city's history and everything. Just saying. That's all I'm going to say about that. But, you know, to bring it back to this, look. Is it disgusting what the fans did? Yes. Is it an indictment on Eagles fans, or maybe there's some Vikings fans in there? Who knows? But no. I think in general, Philly fans, very passionate. I respect them. I mean, I'm from the Boston area. You guys know how passionate Boston fans are, so I respect any fan base that gets behind their team. Minnesota, they have like the skull chants and everything. Love their fan base. And I'm not going to indict their whole fan base over a couple of, I guess we'll call it what it is, a couple of idiots. So like I said, they're hiding behind the keyboard, fake tough guys. You throw the fantasy football aspect in it as well. That enters the conversation, because somebody could have had Mattison in their lineup. He didn't do well enough for them. So they felt like they needed to tell Mattison their feelings about it, like he's supposed to care what they think based off their fantasy team. He steps on the field, he wants to do his best, of course. Not going to happen every week or every game, because he's a human. Not everybody bats 1,000 every day. But once again, if people feel like they get on their keyboard, he'll read it, and he's supposed to sit there and be like, you know what? Random guy in a random city, I'm going to do my best next game to help you out. When in general, he's just trying to live his life as an NFL running back, provide for his family. And yes, he would love to perform at the highest level 17 times a season. It's just not possible for the most part. So, I think what we need to gather from all this, people just need to respect like people's space, learn how to disconnect from rabid fan to functioning human in society. Shouldn't be that difficult. But then again, here we are. We're going to get more stories like this, I guarantee. Not only this NFL season, but once the NBA season starts, stuff will happen. It just kind of is what it is at this point. It's unfortunate, but it's just the life we're all running around in right now. All right, let's go to the next story. Let's. I'm about to say let's make it a little bit more happy, but we got to talk about Aaron Rodgers now. So Aaron Rodgers, the question after we saw this on Monday night, him being helped off the field, it was, is this the lasting image of Aaron Rodgers' Hall of Fame career? Well, he did an interview on Pat McAfee, which we know he loves showing up on Pat McAfee. They're boys, if you didn't know. He did, was it 2 days after his procedure or something like that. Basically, to break down the interview, he was saying he loves the people who are doubting whether he's going to continue his career because he's going to show them and prove them wrong. Ultimately, he's kind of letting it be known he's going to come back and try to give it a go. Which I did a previous video about, which once again, you can check that out after this one, where I kind of said, yeah, he's pushing 40, but I don't see Aaron Rodgers going out like this. 4 plays into a season with a lot of hype. Yeah, I think he comes back because he did sign a 2-year deal. Gives a second year a go. See if he can't get it done in New York. I mean, I guess it was good to hear from him, I think the mentality was what you kind of expected coming right out of the surgery. Of course, we'll have to see how he feels with the whole rehab and everything, and once he gets back onto a football field, how does he feel? But from all signs point to him not retiring, not fading away, coming back and trying to get it done. I mean, the contract is a good motivator. He'll make 30-something million the second year. The desire to get a second Super Bowl, pretty big motivator. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with the Jets. So for here in the short term, Zach Wilson will have an opportunity to prove or live up to his draft spot, at least until the Jets, I guess, sign a new quarterback or something like that. But once again, if anything else happens in Aaron Rodgers' world, I'll definitely let you know, give you my opinion on it in a future episode. Now, let's go to a somewhat happier subject. My picks. Yeah, I mean, the downside is, they're in the right corner. 5-11, not that great. Let's not pay attention to that, okay? Just glance at it, look away. So I do pick, so for those of you who are new, I pick each game from the week. I pick it against the spread. Like you can see, I'm keeping track with the record. The goal is 55% by the end of the year. Obviously, well below that right now. But I do think this week might be able to turn some things around. So I'll run through the games. I'm not going to, go crazy in depth with each game because that'll take forever. I'll give one quick point for each team, and we'll just keep it moving. And I got my bold prediction, which I will talk about at the end. But so technically 5-11, I'm 6-11. If you saw the video that came out on Thursday, I did predict the Vikings cover, and they did. It was a backdoor cover, but it's still a cover. Because it was 34-28 was the score. So it was 6.5, and they covered. Good start to the week. So the next game, we have the Packers and Falcons. I'm taking the Packers plus 1.5. The key for Green Bay is, can Jordan Love repeat his performance against the Bears? Very simple. Stop the Falcons' running game. For the Falcons, can we see a development in Ritter in the passing game? They're not going to win every week just running the ball. So next up, we have the Bucks and the Bears. I'm taking the Bucks minus the 2.5, even though I have been high in the Bears. Troubling what happened last week. So for the Bears, can they shake that performance off and play better this week, just all around? And for the Bucks, can Baker Mayfield get it done again? Very simple. Next up, we have the Seahawks and the Lions. I'm taking the Seahawks plus 4.5. The Lions come down a little bit. I'm liking it even more. I believe with Devin Witherspoon will be back for the Seahawks. So he and Tariq Woolen will form their dynamic duo. The key's going to be with the Lions, can they come back off the emotional win Thursday night against the Chiefs? Actually play better. They didn't play great Thursday night. They did get the win, so, you give them credit for that. But can they, get over that win, move on, and play better? If they're still celebrating the Chiefs win, then they'll lose. Like I said, I'm picking the Seahawks because I think, for the Seahawks, it's Geno Smith. He's got to play better, and I expect him to. So I think the Seahawks cover that one. Next up, Bills, Raiders. For the Raiders, can they keep it close? Put the pressure on Buffalo, because I think if they are able to do that with what happened week 1 against the Jets, they might be able to sneak one out and send Bills fans just crazy. For Buffalo, can they show offensively the kind of production that has a lot of people, at least the ones that are still on board of Buffalo, thinking that they can make a deep playoff run and think that they're still one of the better teams in the AFC. To get more of the interception and terrible decision making from Josh Allen, then it's going to get very uncomfortable in Buffalo. But I have Buffalo covering the 8.5. Usually do not like spreads like that, but I think Buffalo gets back on track. Got Chargers, Titans. I'm taking the Chargers minus 2.5. But I promise you, I've been going back and forth in this game, because I think if Tennessee can establish the run, long methodical drives, eat up clock, Tennessee can very, very well win this game. I guarantee you. Because defensively, the Chargers aren't necessarily feeling too good about themselves, which I think is the key for the Chargers. Can they get over what Miami did to them last week with defense and even offense? Confidence is a big part of it. And right now, the confidence in the defense has to be shot a little bit by letting Tua throw for 465 yards, Tyreek Hill catch over 200 yards. That's a lot. And for a defense that has some players on there, that can shake their confidence. And if that's the case, Tennessee has enough talent to take advantage of that. So I'm taking the Chargers. I'm not confident in that at all. Indy and Houston. Love the fact that the two young quarterbacks are going against each other, and I believe they're all facing each other. So at some point, we'll get Indy, Carolina, and we'll also get Texans, Carolina. But for Houston, can their defense step up? Yes, they lost to the Ravens last week, but I thought their defense played great. Well, maybe great's a little bit of a stretch, but I thought they played well. They're obviously better than the offense right now. So while CJ Stroud's still trying to figure it out, can their defense keep them in games? For the Colts, we might have to start asking, is Anthony Richardson going to be the best young quarterback of the new crop that came in this year? At least this year, we'll say. Out of the three big names, Bryce Young, and CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson had the best week 1. His team was probably the closest to winning a game. And maybe that carries into this week. I do have the Colts +1 because I think the Colts are in a bit of a better place right now. Once again, not confident in this one in any stretch of the imagination. Next, we have the Bengals and the Ravens. This one's a game that I think a lot of people will be paying attention to. Bengals looked out of sorts last week. Ravens, who I just talked about. With Houston did well against that new look offense in Baltimore. So I'm going to take the Bengals in this one. I think the Bengals get it right. Don't expect T. Higgins to not get a catch. I think the passing game gets clicking. I think Joe Mixon gets clicking on the ground. I'm I might be even inclined to say the Bengals could win this one by over a touchdown. Ravens are dealing with some injuries as well, so we do have to say that, although when aren't the Ravens really dealing with injuries? I know every team deals with them, but seems like with the Ravens, it's like key players. Humphrey, was it Williams, Dobbins is gone for the year. Was it Linderbaum, the center? So, give me the Bengals here. Yeah. Jaguars and the Chiefs. I'm picking the Jaguars to cover here. I think this one probably is a high-scoring game. And I can see it going back and forth with a field goal deciding it at the end. So I think the Jaguars cover the 3.5. This one could be the most fun game of the weekend. It'd be hard for me to think the Chiefs end up 0-2, but for the Chiefs, yeah, it's just shaking off the Lions' loss. Again, Kelsey and Jones back. Maybe they just look like last year all over again. For the Jaguars, it's a chance for them to kind of announce themselves as threats in the AFC. If they can take down Kansas City, might just start thinking about them a little bit differently. Especially continuing off of what they did last season. Niners -7 at the Rams. Look, I know the Rams won last week, but I'm not buying it. The key villain's going to be Matt Stafford. If Matt Stafford can put up big numbers, the Rams might surprise some people. For the Niners, I was impressed by what they did against the Steelers, and I just think that they're letting people know that they're for real. Can Brock Purdy continue to play with the confidence he showed last week? That will determine what happens in that game. Giants and the Cardinals. I got the Giants -4.5. Look, the Giants got embarrassed by the Cowboys. No other way around it. 40-0. Yeah, you'd have to think that there was probably a rough week of practice. They're going to want to come out, show that they're not that team that lost 40-0, looking completely lost. Insert the Arizona Cardinals, who don't want to win a lot of games this year, let's be honest. So the Giants should be able to handle the Cardinals kind of easily. Can the Giants offense get something going? And for the Cardinals, can they look respectable, I guess? Now, this one might be a bit controversial, but I have the Jets +8.5 against the Cowboys. I feel like that game's going to be very low scoring. Both defenses will be the star of the game. Zach Wilson's not going to be asked to throw 50 times. He's probably going to keep it around 16 to 20. A lot of running the ball, a lot of clock eating, a lot of probably field goals for the Jets. But yeah, I don't see in any way the Cowboys beating them by like 10. I don't think so. Like that could be like a 17-13 type of game, to be honest with you. For the Cowboys, it'll be, well, I guess for both teams, which defense outshines the other one will probably lead to who wins that game. We got Broncos, Commanders, so I'm taking the Broncos -3.5. There has to be some improvement from Denver at some point, right? I mean, last year was last year. Week 1 looked pretty bad. They got to look better this week. They have to, right? Washington, they're still finding their way. New era of Washington football. But they probably do need to play a little bit better than they did last week. I just got to go with Denver here. I think there's too much talent on Denver to lose to Washington. I got my Patriots versus the Dolphins. It was a Sunday night football, so that's going to be nice. +2.5, I'm taking the Patriots there. I think the Patriots could beat the Dolphins. I think defensively they will be ready for Tua, Tyreek, and Jalen Waddle. I feel like offensively, I think like New England's not getting enough credit for what they did against Philly last week, even though they lost. But offensively, they looked pretty good in the second half. I think the NFL put out their power rankings. They had the Patriots at 25th. You explain to me how that's possible, especially with some of the teams they had ahead of them. But that's neither here nor there. Maybe that's for another episode. I look at their rankings and completely destroy it. But I think the Patriots get it done, get to 1-1. It's not even really an indictment on the Dolphins. I still think the Dolphins are going to be a good team as long as Tua is healthy, of course. But I think the Patriots have the formula to beat them, and we'll get it done. Then we have the 2 Monday night games. So we have the Saints, Panthers. Give me the Saints minus the 3. Panthers offense looks broken right now, which puts more pressure on their defense, and the defense isn't like top tier. It's kind of middle of the road, maybe top half, but it's not good enough right now to make up for offensively how inept they look. For the Saints, like I said, Carr versus Young, I'll take Carr in this matchup. Yeah, I think the Saints have the more talented team, so give me the Saints minus the 3. Then the second Monday night game, we have Browns, Steelers. Remember, the 2 Monday night games are separated by like an hour. So at a certain point, they will both be going at the same time. If it's possible and you have multi-view, not a sponsored thing, but YouTube TV or whatever, you put both games on, you sit back, and you just enjoy yourself. So I'll take the Browns minus the 2.5. Steelers came up short week 1. Kind of troubling. No Deontay Johnson. Freiermuth is hurt. Browns defense looked pretty good against Cincinnati. I think they'll look just as good against the Steelers. And offensively, you know what you're going to get from Cleveland. Healthy dose of Nick Chubb, while Watson continues to slowly play a little bit better. But yeah, give me the Browns minus the 2.5. Then my bold prediction. Packers Falcons over 40.5. I think looking at it, you're looking at the Falcons who want to run the ball a lot. Usually that leads to lower scoring games, but I feel like Green Bay is kind of onto something offensively. Not saying like they're some high powered offense, but I could see that game being like 24-17, 24-18, something like that. So give me Green Bay Falcons over 40.5. I'm trying to think if I should count the bold prediction towards the record. We'll see how that goes. Or maybe I'll just keep track of the bold prediction records. I'll do that. Leave the overall for actual picks. But yeah. So I did a bold prediction week 1, which was just reiterating one of the game picks. So I'm not going to count that. Bold prediction from here on out will be kind of like this. Over-under or a player line, like over-under passing yards or something like that. One of those would be the bold prediction going forward. But yeah, so those are my picks. Obviously, with everything I talked about on here, you let me know what you think. So put that down in the comment section. We'll definitely talk about it down there. If you have a prediction of your own for this week that you want to kind of throw out there, put it down in the comment section as well. Hey, if your prediction's bold enough and you get it right, I will shout you out on, I guess, one of the episodes for the next week. Or if you call one of the games and, you're spot on, I'll definitely shout you out as well. Like I said, the interactions where I really love to kind of spend my time responding to comments, so we'll definitely do that. But with that, I will say be safe out there. God bless. I'll catch you next episode. Which, remember, Monday or Tuesday, then Wednesday or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 times a week. So the Monday, Tuesday episode will recap what happened Sunday and get you ready for Monday night. I guess that one technically has to be on Monday, but we'll see how that goes. And obviously, if anything else happens in the sports world in between that, but for right now, a lot of football-centric episodes, which I love because I'm a big fan of the NFL. But yeah, you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you the next episode. All right, I'm out of here. Be good.